Winning Blueprint presents.
In the lab room. Miami Dolphins.
I was a huge Doug Funny fan. I used to watch the cartoon Doug when I was growing up. And one of the episodes featured a band called The Beats. And they had a song called I Need More Allowance. You're the lady. I need more allowance. And I feel that way about the Miami Dolphins. You need more talent. You're the lady. You need more talent. This is a ball club that I feel like really overachieved in 2012. Hi, my name is Lou. You are in the lab room. Lab follow-up for the Miami Dolphins. Thank you for joining me. This Miami Dolphins team, they're building something in Miami. And I like the direction that they're going in. But they need a lot more talent. I tell you what, most GMs are fired for the amount of talent that the Dolphins have on their roster. Jeff Ireland is lucky to still have a job. Now, I said that, and you could also say in the same breath, the talent that they do have is really good in Miami. And I think that might be why Jeff Ireland still has a job. Because even though this team doesn't have a lot of it, the ones that they do have are really good. I mean, defensively, the Dolphins only gave up 19.8 points a game in 2012. I mean, that was good for 7th in the league. They were stingy. This defense, when I say there's not a lot of talent, I'm not talking about the defense. Because at every level on this defense, there's at least one ultra-talented guy. You could argue the linebacker position, not so much. But at safety, Rashad Jones, he emerged this season as a really, really good safety in the National Football League. I like Rashad Jones a heck of a lot. That man can play some football. Please don't get me started. Please do not get me started on Sean Smith. Sorry, that was me drooling over Sean Smith's talents. I love Sean Smith. I think he is the most, listen to me, the most underrated corner in the National Football League. Where else do you get 6'3", long, physical, athletic, making plays on the football? Where else do you get all of that? Maybe out in Seattle. That's it. Sean Smith is just as good, every bit as good as those corners out in Seattle. Yet no one is talking about it. If you've never seen him play, do me a favor. Put on some tape. Watch Sean Smith work. He's a technician. The man can play football. He's physical, aggressive at the line of scrimmage, can run with you. And if you make a mistake, he'll pick you off. I love Sean Smith. I will sing his praises till the birds come home. I just love Sean Smith. I would trade half of my defense for some talent like Sean Smith. I would love to get a corner with his attributes, his skill set, his frame of mind. Because he's aggressive and he knows he's good. And that's the best thing about a corner. The one thing you can't teach a corner is confidence. A corner can have a great back pedal. He can be very athletic and have a lot of agility. Can have speed for days. He can jump. But if he doesn't have the confidence that, hey, I'm better than you and I'm going to get it done. I'm going to shut you down. Hey, you might get me on one play. You might get me for a touchdown. But I'm telling you, the next time we step on the field, you're mine. You got to have that frame of mind as a corner. Sean Smith has that all tightly wound into a nice package to go along with the frame, with the size, with the strength, everything. It's all on display. You see how I just turned on that switch when I started talking about Sean Smith? Let me turn it back down. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel about Sean Smith. But to get back to where I was going, Cameron Wake, he's a monster. He's an animal. Every time he gets a sack, he's an animal. He can do that. He's a uncaged animal on the football field. So the Dolphins have talent. Paul Soliai, he's a monster down there. You look at Randy Starks. Ever since coming from Tennessee, he's been a problem on that Miami Dolphins defensive line. Hard to block that guy. And when Randy Starks isn't getting pressure, when he isn't stopping the run, he's tipping passes and picking them off. I've never seen a defensive tackle be so adept at picking the football off. Randy Starks has a gift and a knack for doing that. Randy Starks is a good player. So the Dolphins have talent all over. And yeah, I omitted Carlos Dansby on purpose because I think Carlos Dansby is okay. I don't think he's great. I think he's okay. But again, I think the Dolphins, if there's one part of their defense that needs an overhaul, that could use some work, it's a linebacker position. Because I don't think they have a lot of talent there. But when I say that the Dolphins need a lot of talent, I'm talking about offensively. This was a team that only managed to muster 18 points a game offensively. So you only give up 19.8. That's the good news. The bad news is you only score 18. So you still lose more games than you win. Isn't that a shame? Doesn't that suck? You only give up 19.8 a game, which is great. That's a dental floss thin number. Yet you only score 18 a game, so you still lose. Man, but that's how bad they are on offense. That number says it all. And that number is good enough for 27th in the league. And that's exactly what this Dolphins offense was. A 27th ranked offense in the league, scoring-wise. Because they just had trouble scoring in 2012. You could put some of it on Ryan Tannehill's shoulders. Yeah, he's a rookie. He came along, but he made mistakes. But look, there's not a lot of talent around this guy. Just flat out isn't a lot of talent. At tight end, at wide receiver. And the Dolphins have the nerve to be talking about cutting Jake Long loose. As if they have it that way. I don't understand the rationale there. But hey, whatever you need to do, by all means, knock yourself out. But the Dolphins don't have a number one receiver. You could argue that the Dolphins don't have a number two receiver. I'd say that I like Mr. Hartline, and I think he could be an adequate, more than adequate number two receiver in this league. I think Devon Best is the prototypical slot receiver. You draw up a slot receiver, and you ask what it should look like. I point to Devon Best. Hey, you want a slot receiver? There he is. Look at number 15. Watch the way he works. Watch the way he snatches the ball out of the air. Look at the agility. Look at him in and out of breaks. That's what you want out of a slot guy. Someone that in space is dangerous. That's Devon Best. And I think from that standpoint, the Dolphins have some things you can build around offensively. But you don't have a number one receiver. It's tough. It's tough sledding because that puts everyone else out of their comfort zone. Brian Hartline is not a number one. He shouldn't have to be asked to perform like one. You put him at number two, and you actually put a Brandon Marshall across from him, like you had before, all of a sudden now, Brian Hartline is a problem. And he was a problem early on in this season. I mean, he was lighting teams up, scoring 80-yard touchdowns left and right. But that's not what Brian Hartline is going to do consistently. And his play kind of tailed off toward the end of the season, but this Dolphins team needs a number one receiver. This Dolphins team could use more receivers. I just named two receivers, Devon Best and Brian Hartline. After those two, name another Dolphin receiver. Got one for me? If you gave me the response, Maul and more, I'd accept that. I would have taken Anthony Armstrong, Jabbar Gaffney, Rashard Matthews. You have no idea who any of those guys are. Maybe Jabbar Gaffney, maybe Anthony Armstrong, maybe not. My point exactly. Had you come up with an answer, good for you. For most of you, there was no answer at the end of Final Jeopardy. You didn't have a response because you didn't know any more of the Dolphins receivers. And rightfully so. That's how bad it is at receiver for the Miami Dolphins. And to think, they put a rookie quarterback out on the field and asked him to make plays with that receiving corps. Good luck. So, for what Ryan Tannehill was able to do with what was around him, bravo. Bravo to Ryan Tannehill. Because, man, was that cupboard bare or what? You look at tight end. Anthony Fasano. He's nice. He's not athletic. He's not what you would like to be throwing the football to on a consistent basis. He's a guy that will make some plays for you. He had a couple of outstanding catches, one-handed grabs this season for touchdowns. I mean, Anthony Fasano is a solid tight end in this league. But is he a guy that's going to beat man-to-man coverage, beat zone coverage consistently? Probably not. My 60-year-old grandmother could probably outrun Anthony Fasano. He's not a fast, athletic guy. He'll catch the football if you throw it to him. But they need more talent. They need another tight end. They drafted some guys. If you watched Hard Knocks, you knew that this Dolphins team was void of talent. That's why I thought that the Dolphins were going to be a 3-13, 4-12 team at best, because the talent on this roster, it was scarce, especially offensively. Defensively, there were some things you could build around. I didn't really think that they needed to trade Vontae Davis, but maybe they saw some things they didn't like on film, and on the Hard Knock series, on the pass interference that he got a pick six on. I mean, they kind of highlighted that as, hey, this guy's going in the wrong direction. Let's go ahead and trade him now. And I didn't think that that was necessary. I really didn't. Good corners in the National Football League are so hard to come by. And I thought Vontae Davis, with a little bit of work, would have been a consistently good corner in this league. He wasn't there yet. He's had his good days and his bad days, but he can play football. And so that's what your positional coaches are for, to coach up talent, which is something you don't have a lot of. You could use some tight end help. You could use some linebacker help. You definitely need some receiver help, some young, good receivers. Hey, Armand Benz, he's not that bad. You got him late in the season from Cincinnati, off the street. He's not bad, but you can do better. And I say that's something that you need to address in the draft. You need some difference makers. The Dolphins need difference makers, guys that actually have an impact on the game. They don't have enough of those. Reggie Bush can be that guy. Speaking of Reggie Bush, Joe Philbin actually benched him in one football game for fumbling. Now, I don't remember what game it was, who they were playing. I know they lost, and they lost very badly. But, if I'm not mistaken, it was against Tennessee. And why? Was his fumble that egregious? I know you practice not turning the ball over, not shooting yourself in the foot. But was that point really worth hammering home at the expense of the whole team? Because if you didn't notice, Reggie Bush is your best running back. Daniel Thomas, he's okay. He's not Reggie Bush. He's not a difference maker. So, Joe Philbin, while I think he was a great addition to this Dolphins franchise, and I think he did a solid job of coaching his team, didn't agree with that one bit. I didn't like that at all. Thought that you can't put your message before the team. You might preach to them, hey, no penalties, no turnovers, but because you get a holding penalty on 3rd and 7 that negates a 27-yard game, you don't bench your left tackle. So why would you take Reggie Bush out of the game for a fumble? It's not like Reggie had 6 fumbles on the season. That was his 7th, and you were tired of it. That might have been Reggie's 2nd or 3rd fumble of the season, if that. I thought that was a poor time for a lesson to be given out and a message to be sent to the team. Joe Philbin has to be better than that, and You don't have enough talent to be doing things like that. So, the 2012 Dolphins were sporadic. They went as Ryan Tannehill went. When Ryan Tannehill was taking care of the football, and he had stretches this season where he didn't turn it over at all. And the Dolphins won. They had a 3-game winning streak when Ryan Tannehill didn't turn it over, when he was efficient, when he started to use his legs. They won games. When he started to turn the football over, as he did at the beginning of the season and toward the end, they lost football games. It's simple. When he was able to take care of the football and help this team put points up on the scoreboard, they won. Because, again, this defense was so good at holding down opponents from scoring a lot of points. It didn't take much to win games. This Dolphins team was a solid bunch. And they were a dangerous team. This wasn't a team that you really wanted to see if you had aspirations of going to the postseason. Ask the Seahawks, who came into Miami and lost. A Seahawks team that went on to do some really good things toward the end of the season, but not before this Dolphins team dropped them in Miami. And so this Dolphins team has the potential to do some things. They need more talent, though. They need receivers. They need tight ends. They need linebackers. They need talent. They need stuff, and lots of it. Again, Jeff Ireland needs to be a busy man in this offseason. Draft, free agency, all of those things. He needs to get busy and get more guys who make an impact on this roster right away. Because Ryan Tannehill, I feel like, doesn't have enough around him to allow him to flourish as a quarterback. He just doesn't. I love the acquisition of Javorsky Lane. Charles Clay is someone that I think you need to get the ball to more. But all in all, there's not enough talent on this team. And that was apparent when you watched Hard Knocks. Nothing has changed since then. This is still a team that needs more talent. So I think that moving forward, this team needs to address those needs in the offseason. If it were me, this 12th pick in the draft, wide receiver. No doubt about it. If there's anyone worth selecting at the 12th spot at receiver that's any good, that's going to be a #1 receiver in the National Football League, you take him with that 12th pick. No questions asked, no delay, no hesitation. Unless you're fielding offers for that pick and you can trade back, I don't think there's really anything to think about. You take a receiver with this pick because you need to get Ryan Tannehill a go-to receiver and have him have someone he can grow with. Have him have some targets. Look, Hartline is good. Devon Best, I think, is an absolute gem in the slot. But hear what I'm saying. Slot and #2. So we're talking about a wide receiver and a slot guy. You need an X receiver. You need a #1. With this pick in the first round, I think that's what you need to address. You need some linebackers that make a difference. I think that your linebackers are physical. Koa Misi, he's physical. He can tackle. He's not a difference maker, though. He doesn't make plays. He just makes the plays that are there to be made. He's not going above and beyond the call of duty and making plays. I think Carlos Dansby is solid. I'm not going to bag on him or rag on him. He's a good player. I just think that his best days are probably behind him. So you need to start looking at some linebacker prospects as well. Tight end, Michael Agnew, you drafted him. And he might be a solid tight end down the road. But don't be afraid to draft another tight end that could be better. To push him. Push him. Get the most you can out of Michael Agnew. Push him. Because you need to get as much talent on the field around Ryan Tannehill if you want him to flourish as a quarterback as you possibly can. And that's going to do it for the Miami Dolphins on the Lab follow-up. Thank you for joining me. Come back tomorrow on this very segment when we're talking Tampa Bay Buccaneers football. So come back, join me tomorrow when we're talking about another Florida team in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Lab follow-up. Thank you for joining me. See you then.
Miami Dolphins.